Friends, with you on 16 days of war in Ukraine, there seems to be some changes which we must share with you. The Russian military seems to be now moving forward for another offensive. The offense was continuing, but there is a qualitative jump in that against the major cities of Ukraine. Eastern Ukraine, that includes even its capital Kiev. Northwest of capital Kiev, Irpin, also is part of that, and its consolidation phase so far, what we are talking about so far, last about a week or so, in which the populations were permitted, allowed to move out of particular cities. Yesterday also till today morning local time there, 10 a.m. They were humanitarian corridors allowed by the Russian military to go out, while they were opposed by the Nazis, Azov battalion and nationalists. That included even Ukrainian military. Besides that, the final phase to have full capture on these major cities seems to have arrived to, and as the diplomatic talks that have failed so far, even though the American NATO forces, European Union countries have reconciled to the offense of Russia and their upper hand. Besides that point, let us have some few bits and pieces, the information that have come. The Russian and Ukrainian foreign ministers' talk in Turkey lasted for more than an hour or so, close to 90 minutes almost, failed in further negotiations. Also, if it comes through, let us see what is likely to come out of that. As far as the sanctions are concerned, the European Union diplomat Joseph has said that it has reached its end. They can't coerce Russia more than this. Whatever the economic sanction, whatever the propaganda, whatever the chaos, whatever the military aids to Ukrainian army could be done is being done, but nothing more is likely to come. That's part of a defeatist mood. And while on the other side, in the same meeting, Lavrov said that it will do whatever possible to defend itself, and also Russia will do everything to no longer depend on West in decisive areas of life. Of course, he didn't talk about socialism because that is the only way out, wherein you use your local wherewithal, local resources, that includes manpower, to sustain yourself and grow. But well, Russians have understood that depending on West is harmful to them. Wonder when the Brazilians and Indians will understand that, and the rest of the world. And on the other hand, the Ukrainian foreign minister Kuleba, he has said that NATO not ready to ensure safety of Ukraine. Both sides are coming to the terms. Why can't they shake hand directly? There is a problem in that. Any diplomatic understanding and final shake hand between the two warring sides is not so simple. In Russia, Putin and his ministry will take the decision. Maybe he seeks advice from the opposition. But as far as Zelensky is concerned, there are his advisors from the West, NATO, European Union, sitting in Kiev and through communication in Brussels, in Washington. And these masters have to talk among themselves. where the mini headquarters in Germany, France, and those frogs were jumping inside like Australia, Canada. No major role to play, but still they are jumping. British Prime Minister, of course, a major participant, but he says that any Russian, even civil aircraft entering into British airspace will be treated as war, as aggression. Look at that. Anyway, let us see an example of Mariupol, that which we have been wondering why such a long time the Russian military has taken to capture these major cities in eastern Ukraine, which they have surrounded for more than a week. Mariupol, a steel producing hub center, even exporting hub as far as Ukraine was concerned, starting from steel, other items, and even wheat. It's a huge area. It's not a small area, which I will come to it little later. And even though infested and invested by the Russian military for a week, the civil population, where it is said that even more than 400,000 civilians are still stuck. You cannot have 100% civilians going out. But well, and where the propaganda from the opposition is jumping on attack on a hospital, a child's healthcare system, and the entire thing is going on that. They know other verification, so we assume that the Russians have attacked either purposely or by mistake. By the way, you should look into Syrian counter-offensive against the ISIS, wherein the US and all that shouted, jumped, that Syrians have used chemical, biological weapons. Syrians have bombed hospitals and killed hundreds of wounded and sick people. Later on turned out to be zero. Well, same thing in Czechoslovakia when the masses had risen. You should find out. And what they really did in Syria and Afghanistan, they don't talk about it. Well, let us cut it short. Humanitarian corridor hasn't failed totally. What Russians wanted seems to be moving forward and has succeeded in freeing these areas from the civil population so that the military can directly engage the opponents. Well, the Ukraine is negotiating on Russian terms. That is for sure. Neutrality is accepted, and whatever its other partners, whether they accept or not. But in short, who are the other participants directly or indirectly are like I've already told you, but they are NATO, European Union, US, CIA in Kiev, Azov Battalion, their commanders, Nazis, nationalists. But how about the population? Yes, I know LPR, DPR, Russians, Putin, Russian opposition parties, even those who are protesting world over, that includes even in India, they are indirect participants in this diplomatic talks. But how about the people of Ukraine? Have they been ever asked since 2014? Okay, I leave it to you. Now, Ukraine and Mariupol I was talking about, it is 10th largest city in the Ukraine. And population is more than 430,000. And when I said more than 400,000 people are stuck, so that means only 30,000 or so population have, civilians we are talking about, so far been able to escape from there. And the area is 166 kilometers square. It's not a small. Yesterday I had told that Mariupol's border with the Ukraine, existing Ukrainian military, has been by and large cleared. So now Russian military is poised to move forward. Okay, having talked about this, not going into each and every detail of thing where LPR, DPR also have consolidated their position. Let me summarize. As far bio labs and other things are concerned, the propaganda counter and counter propaganda is continuing. Even nuclear warfare talk, they are purposely being done to create confusion in the war areas, in the war zone. But it has no effect as far as the Russians are concerned. They have made up their mind that do or die, and they will continue going on. Zelensky's continuous scream for the help of US and NATO that make their airspace no-fly zone and deploy fighter aircraft. America has said no. They cannot do it, saying that it will escalate the war. War is already escalated, but they in any case, NATO in any case, European Union, will not accept the war to be escalating beyond the boundaries of Ukraine. Let it come to the western Ukraine, but not in Poland and elsewhere, because they know who will be the losers. In the meantime, the other countries I talked, we must understand the role of Venezuela, Iran, Turkey, Israel. India is hardly any, unless there is some United Nations General Assembly meeting is going on. There is not much. And of course, India's interest was to take back its students who were in thousands. By large, that is over. And election in India too is over. So that propaganda as far as India is concerned, that too is over. There is no reason for them to shout on this. They will move on something else. So friends, as far as this Ukrainian war on 11th day is concerned, I have summed up as I have understood the things like that. The aid in the meantime to the Ukrainian government is 13.6 billion from the US and 1.4 billion from the UN. That means it will go through the IMF and other things. And on the other hand, just to wonder where these aids are actually going, in what form, the 3,000 military installations have been destroyed so far by the Russian military in Ukraine. And out of all this chaotic situation, North Korea has launched another ICBM. And US says that North Korea is moving into new era of ballistic missiles, and which it will use even in space technology. While Kim Jong-un has claimed that it is going to be the world leader as far as the space technology is concerned. That is to be seen. And in the meantime, like for my Indian listeners, when we feel happy that foreign aid is coming, IMF and World Bank has given so and so loan. There is 45 billion worth loan from IMF to Argentina, and Argentinians are protesting against it. Huge protest. They say no. They know the meaning of it. Thank you, friends.